Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Reference Recording. And today we're talking about Liszt's Deux Etudes d'Exécution Transcendentale, or whatever they're called, the Transcendental Etudes of Franz Liszt. This is actually a fascinating topic to consider because, Liszt, you know what I mean? Let me put it to you this way. When I talked about the sonata in B minor, the sonata reference recording, and I said it was Richter's because it was Richter, just because it was Liszt, like it was Richter, like it was Liszt, you know what I mean? And a lot of you went ape and said, no, it has to be Claudio Arrau, who actually has my favorite recording of the work, I have to tell you. And I understood that. But I was saving Claudio Arrau, first of all, because I don't believe he's the reference in that work. And second of all, because he's definitely the reference in the Transcendental Etudes. This is the old Philips Arrau edition, Arrau Heritage Universal box. I don't know what edition this was, but it has all of his Liszt recordings for Philips. And there's a very good reason that he is the reference recording for the Transcendental Etudes. It stems from the fact that doesn't stem from me generally, but an example of why was in my classical music's, 10 Dirtiest Secrets or whatever it was, when I said Liszt is trash. And lots of people said, oh, yes, he is so trashy, thank God. A few people said he's not trash. Okay, I have to be honest. Liszt is not trash. He wrote some trashy music, yes, but he was an unbelievably forward-thinking genius. He really was, and his music is amazing. And he wasn't, as I've said before, the best tunesmith in the world. That wasn't what he was good at. What he was good at was coming up with music that was conceptually fascinating and also doing marvelous things with tunes by other composers. And I got flack for saying that too, but we're not going through that again. I don't want to hear how wonderful you think Liszt melodies are. I'm just telling you straight out. People do not go around humming Liszt original melodies like they do, say, Tchaikovsky, Johann Strauss, Dvorak, Brahms even. You get it? It's not even a question. So let's put that aside. No, the problem is the Liszt is trash, generally conceived thing. And they're very, very reputable people in the musical world who say that Liszt is trash. Tovey, the great critic Donald Francis Tovey, who particularly trashed the Transcendental Etudes. He said that they're devoid of any musical virtues save those such are odiose. If you think Liszt is odiose or otiose, whatever that word is, meaning pompous and vulgar and anyway. The Transcendental Etudes are magnificent works. I mean, Liszt worked on them. People dismiss these things so casually. They existed in multiple versions before he polished them to their final perfection. And of course, some of them, like Mazeppa, are also tone poems. It was something that he was engaged with for a goodly part of his career. And they're epic-making works. And the reason Claudio Arrau's versions became the reference is because Arrau was such a serious pianist. Nobody could accuse Arrau of being a vulgar, flashy showman for its own sake. You might say that he was heavy-handed and sententious and other things like that, but a vulgar, cheap carnival barker? No way in the world. And so when he took on the Transcendental Etudes, let's see, what year was that? Let's see if I can find out what year this was. It's always a challenge seeing where they put the dates. I think we should just have a separate video called, Dave Finds the Date. Oh, here it is, 1977. So when he did these in 1977, which is really rather late, despite other excellent versions of the Transcendental Etudes, this was something special. Because of him, people were prepared to take the work seriously. And he played it he played everything seriously. I mean, he had a gorgeous depth of tone, but no lack of virtuosity. I mean, he nails Mazeppa. He gets Wilde Jagd. I mean, he gets that stuff. And his Recordanza is gorgeous, and Harmonie du Soir. You know, it has such spiritual depth and profundity. Now, here's the interesting thing. Did he have more of those qualities than other pianists who've recorded the Transcendental Etudes? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. But how do you hear depth? I always wondered about that. How do you hear sublimity? You know, I mean, these are not physical things. They're subjective things, right? And so people have to be prepared to hear those things. And my experience is Shostakovich's experience. Remember when Shostakovich said, well, I told everyone that the end of the Fifth Symphony is happy and optimistic. And so they said, yeah, it's happy and optimistic, even though I think it's like tragic and depressing and vicious and horrifying. And that's so often true. People hear what they expect to hear. They hear what they want to hear. I think that for a lot of people, Liszt's Transcendental Etudes are like, you know, pornography. They're a dirty pleasure because they're so exciting and they're so well written. It's thrilling to hear them, but people don't want to have to say, well, I love them. They're great. They're just leave it at that. Or that they have depth. They have seriousness of purpose. They have, no. So get a pianist like Arrau, whose name is synonymous with those qualities, those higher, more elevated qualities that you want to hear in the music, and poof, voila, we hear those qualities. It's a miracle. It's amazing, isn't it? But whether they're really there or whether people are imagining them or want to hear them, the fact is that Arrau's vision of the Transcendental Etudes in his performance was taken with the kind of seriousness that permitted them to be categorized as reference recordings for those works. And not just reference recordings, but in so doing, it made the music somehow seem greater than it had hitherto. And that's what great artists can do, actually. That's what makes it so interesting. So there you have it, friends, the reference recording for the Transcendental Etudes. Keep on listening, friends, and thanks for joining me. Take care.